I'll give you a $20 gift card. That strategy to get the 40,000 donors.
Is that legal?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess they don't care as long as it seemingly is not money. If it's a gift card, it makes it okay. So he got hurt in a pickup basketball game yesterday with his staff, and they said there's doubt that he can stand up for 2 hours tonight or something. Now, right there, that disqualifies you. This is a good moment for him. You know, you come in with the crutch, you stand there with it. Maybe you put a thing around your head like you fell down. And you say to Brett Baer, yes, I shouldn't have tried to dunk that ball, Brett, but I'm here tonight. Yeah, you soldier on. I mean, he fought to get into this. I can't think of anything that should keep you out of tonight's debate. So which one of these people are you hoping does well tonight? And I guess the converse, who is it? Maybe, Dan, we always talk about that. People love the negative better than the positive. Who is it in order? I'll give you my top 3 that I hope do not do well tonight, Dan, and you give me yours. Number 1, of course. Thank you. The big list. Yeah. Short list.
Yeah, why not?
Everybody knows who it is. The big bloviator himself, Christie. I hope he gets decimated. He's hard to decimate him. I mean, he looks like a rhino coming at you, and he is. So, number 1, I hope Christie gets the floor mopped up with him tonight. Okay? Number 2, I'm like Trump punching below the weight. Asa Hutchinson. That clown doesn't belong on the stage. And number 3, I got a coin flip there, but Mike Pence. And I'll tell you why. It's not about January 6th. It's about the fact that Mike Pence just goes so far on the abortion issue. That's all he has to try to win in Iowa. And he is a detriment. So Mike Pence is my third choice. Dan, how about you? Who do you hope is horrible tonight?
Who do I hope is horrible?
Yes.
Well, I mean, I think
or you might tell me who you hope shines. Either one. You want to be Mr. Sunshine? Go ahead.
Well, I can give you a prediction as to what I think is going to happen tonight. I think that Vivek's going to actually really shine.
You do?
Yeah.
I think he's going to do less than you think.
Do you?
Yeah, he's in the big ring now, and he said a lot of stuff recently that I don't know about.
I just think the guy is a very, like, if I was organizing a debate team in high school, out of these people, Vivek would be my first pick.
Christie's clearly the first pick.
You think Christie's the first pick?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I mean, he's not as likable. That's true.
Yeah.
But as far as
like Christie is an ace at like the aggressive debate style.
Yeah. Oh,
I like the calculated, calm, make the person look like a fool on themselves kind of debate style that Vivek brings.
Okay. So you hope he does well. Who else?
I want to see Tim Scott shine.
That would be very good. He's got no shot, though. People don't want the civility.
Is it true that he's now number 2 in the power rankings for Fox News? He's going to be up there in the middle?
No, he's not. It's Vivek and DeSantis.
It is Vivek and DeSantis?
Oh, yeah.
Got you. Yeah, I want Tim Scott to do well. I really like Nikki Haley as a person.
Right.
But I don't want to say it, but I almost think she's taking up space at this point.
Yeah, I don't even see a VP there. I like Tim Scott as VP.
Yeah.
You know why? I want that moment. Kamala Harris, the flop sweat when he says, from cotton to Congress. I just want to see your face.
My final assessment would be along the lines of yours with Asa Hutchinson. Why don't you want him in here?
Take it. You know me as a moderator. I would give him 10 seconds tonight. He gets in the way. All these people. It's like that judge in the Philadelphia mayoral race. See, I don't play by those rules. Everybody's got to get equal time. We don't want to hear what he has to say tonight. We don't want to hear the guy in Montana either. It's an unusual story, but come on, they're out. We want Christie mano a mano with DeSantis, Vivek in there somewhere, and maybe Tim Scott to see what he has to offer.
Janice writes in, debate of the losers. I'll be watching Tucker interview Trump. You going to be watching that, Dom?
I don't get that. What do you mean debate of the losers? Already the antagonism starting. This isn't fresh. It's the NFL football game. So why then so many people on Twitter said they still want to see what DeSantis does here? No, I will not be watching that. I'll be watching the debate. Reason is, Dan, you can watch that after consume it at any time that you want. This is active. This is now. Here's the other reason. Here's the other reason why this is important. Like it or not, we all know what the media does. They use what one or a couple Republicans say to try to carry the narrative against all Republicans, right? So I know these guys are all and women trying to make their name shine and do that tonight, but I hope that Brett Baer and Martha McCollum try to center in on as much as possible. Less is more here. What's the number one thing that America persuadables that they should lead with? Inflation, inflation, inflation. Don't even call it the economy. This addled clown and what he has done to us. Now, we're having some great guests on. I don't want to say tomorrow's guest yet, but later today, we got a guy in a big dispute with Taco Bell.
Yo quiero Taco Bell.
Yes, because he has Taco Tuesdays at his Summers Point restaurant.
Like 40 years now. This guy's been I think he might be the originator of Taco Tuesday.
Yeah, and but he's willing to talk inflation. Like, how much is a taco, whatever his special things are, how much is behind it? No. I just hope that Baer and McCollum have the sensibility tonight. Of course, we got to talk about Trump and the indictments and all that. But this is about beating Joe Biden. What's the issue to beat Joe Biden with that people are telling you again and again and again? Now, we could argue, hey, look, we realize that there's a million issues out there and all that, and it'd be interesting and all, but people want to hear explicitly. You could just argue every one of these people would do better on inflation than Joe Biden has done it. Anybody off the street we could get would do that. By the way, the hat tip to Rush Limbaugh, Dan. New York Times ran a column yesterday, an op-ed, saying we shouldn't have elections. Now, there's a lot of truth there. The left doesn't want, in the perfect progressive world, what they'd want, abortive geniuses, except for Elon Musk, guys who are real menaces like Bill Gates and all, they'd be there deciding everything, and then we would do it. This guy says we ought to have a lottery. Dan Borowski could be president. And he says if we put them in there, they would be beholden to the people because they knew they were picked randomly by lottery. So they wouldn't have an ego. They wouldn't be doing all these wrong things.
No, not at all.
Yeah, exactly.
No ego.
Like they're not going to go nuts.
You just randomly elect me to be president. I'm not going to make some crazy decisions. No,
yeah, exactly right.
No.
Randomly president. I won the lottery. I'm president.
Free ice cream for life for everyone named Borowski.
Right. How do we get the money? That would be their first thing. But it is proof of what Rush used to say, and some of us have said this too. The left really doesn't want elections. They really don't want to go, as much as they scream about democracy.
Lottery.
They have in their head, and one of the reasons they don't want it, particularly mixed in, what the thing in the world I love the most that thwarts progressives, that I love this second to none out of everything in our government, the Electoral College. I love it. The Electoral College, that they just can't overrun us with mobs and fraudulent voting and corruption. Now they can try, but it's harder. So this guy writes his column that, and the New York Times, let's not have elections now. They're really not interested in elections. They run this right before the debate.
Man, I wish Rush was around to react to that one.
Now, here's the tip of the day, and I've seen it in several places. National Review headline, in the debate, what is it that DeSantis can do? How can he attack Trump in a manner that would not put him at odds with the Trump or endear him to the Trump people potentially? Dan, what do you think they said he could bring up about Trump that Trump people would have to say, yeah, DeSantis is right?
Coronavirus.
Tried that already. Good try. And they don't seem to care. They don't blame Trump for that. Now, I could make the case, and maybe this is good wisdom for DeSantis. I don't think it works. I think DeSantis just has to show personality tonight, remind us of what he accomplished. Do not go after Trump at all. But here's an area, the wall.
Yes.
Now, I think the average person listening goes, well, wait a minute. I think what we saw, the all-out attack on Trump to stop him from building the wall. So how much blame do you assess to Trump? Well, here's how I would put it. I don't think Trump was micro-focused enough on getting that wall done, moving aside whatever. But it was almost an impossible task. Every element imaginable was out there to stop even a foot of that wall from being built. So if DeSantis attacks Trump to saying, he talked a big game, he didn't do the wall, I don't think that'll be effective tonight. My advice would be, in this one, do not attack Trump. Defend Trump with Christie, the indictments. Defend yourself. Show some personality. Don't punch below your weight and try to punch around Vivek Ramaswamy. Dan, are we coming to a point where that's the focus of Ron DeSantis tonight? I'm going to hit him right out of the box. I got a Ramaswamy joke I'm going to throw in there.
Oh, no.
Yeah, who will have the lamest joke tonight? Prediction from you?
Chris Christie.
Chris Christie, you think? Nah, I don't think he jokes. I think
he's the only one on the stage that does joke.
Yeah?
Yeah.
No, I think DeSantis
I think he's a sarcastic a-hole sometimes.
Yeah, right. But I think DeSantis is probably working up some kind of joke. Oh, man.
Yeah.
I can see it already. They're overloading him with too much stuff of do this, do that, and they're both contradictory at the same time.
Yeah.
If he gets through this and he's not Scott Walker after tonight, I'll be kind of surprised.
Who do you think has the best sense of humor out of the debaters tonight?
Best sense of humor, probably based upon I've only interviewed him once, Tim Scott.
Really?
Yeah, he had a great sense of humor when he talked about being in high school, running back, a couple of different things. It's dry. It's not a slap on the back type of stuff.
I would expect, yeah.
Yeah. Why? Who do you say? Mike Pence?
No. Well, I mean, obviously it's not debating tonight, but I do think Trump probably has the best sense of humor out of anyone.
Yeah.
But I would say Christie. I really do think that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm looking for people that
are the only one I could see imbibing in crude humor would be Chris Christie.
True. I'm looking for anybody out there that's, they can't wait to see Christie unleashed tonight. I don't think we're going to hear from anybody on that. All right. And Politico goes after Mark Houck again. I'll give you that in a moment, why they're so fixated on Mark Houck. Dan, it's, that's it is one of the 3 or 4 devoted to political sites in the world. And they spend 2 more printed pages on Mark Houck challenging Fitzpatrick and how Republicans are gearing up to bludgeon this guy. Now, that's a mistake. You can't bludgeon Mark Houck. Just make the case. Mark, your position on abortion, you can't possibly win. Are they really going to beat up on Mark Houck? Don't they know how that angers people? Now, we're going to talk with Brian Fitzpatrick when he's back from overseas, when I'm back from Italy in studio about all this. That will be can't miss. Here's the side question today. By the way, Krasner Land today, 3:45, due to Dan and I, a lot of travel, a lot of moving parts. 3:45.
3:15.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's even change from more travel.
3:15. Yeah.
That's right. I wrote it down wrong. 3:15, Krasner Land, and there's a lot. At 1 o'clock, we have Kenny, an outlaw, talking about the police shooting. Can Kenny work Wegmans or Oaks, Pennsylvania into the news conference today? Or wine? Probably wine he can. All right. Side question. Debate tonight. We were kicking around yesterday. Give us a debate. It could be a silly debate. Remember the day we did that? We had a lot of fun. Could be a serious debate. And give us the 2 people that you think would be compelling to debate, whatever the issue is, silly or serious. Dan, I'm going to say, take your choice. Krasner, Shapiro, and I debating the death penalty. Hopefully 2 of them.
Okay.
Yeah. Hopefully 2. Or if they want to send the real mastermind, Josh Shapiro's son, I would do that.
I like it.
Yeah.
You versus, how old's this kid now?
Yeah, I think he's 11 or 12. Not only that, I'm going to take my glasses off. I'm going to spit on him as a little thing, a little towel to wipe them off, like Krasner does. Yeah.
All right, so I have a couple, Dom.
Yes.
A lot from the world of sports. First off, I want to see Dave the Hammer Schultz against Sidney Crosby debating the value of fighting and aggression in hockey.
Very good.
I think Sidney Crosby's a big wimp, and he's a big cause, I believe, of aggression being removed from the game. And Dave the Hammer Schultz, as we know here in Philadelphia, one of the best enforcers of all time.
All right.
And I will also take off. I want to see Michael Jordan and LeBron James in the same room debating who's the greatest of all time.
That is a real good one. And then I will pop in at the end and say, thanks, guys. It's Wilt Chamberlain. All right. You can also catch all this action. I have my flag shirt on today. Dan, where do people go in addition to listening?
YouTube.com/at 1210WPHT. Every day we do Dining with Dom from noon until 1. Please like and subscribe. It's very much appreciated. YouTube.com/at 1210WPHT.
So, advice to Ron DeSantis at this point tonight, you can't be attacking Trump. That's not your vehicle. I mean, concentrate on pushing back on the attacks on you, showing personality, and defending on the indictments. You try to attack him on the wall at this point. See, Dan, that has to be done almost one-on-one or small thing. If DeSantis has any chance and Trump's in a debate with him, you got to be able to go back and forth. Why didn't you build a wall? Oh, yeah, what are we going to debate that guy about? How about hair? Fake hair and not hair. All right, 855-839-1210. You get on board. Jump in. That's a side question. It could be a silly debate. It could be sports. It could be politics. It could be anything you want. The genius of it is give us the two people that are debating. All right. Dan, you got something else? No?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
Let's get rolling here. 855-839-1210. Liz Briate-Havey here at 2:30. She has talked pretty extensively with Ron DeSantis over the last couple of years. Give you a picture of his mindset and why this is so dismal is what we'd like to see. Pence is going to be right next to Christie. I'd put somebody more volatile next to Christie. So when Christie yells out, Dan, and starts his stuff, if they fire back at him, that would be a moment to see how he'd react. Pence won't do that. Okay. Hey, for all seafood lovers who still haven't tried Captain Chucky's crab cakes, what are you waiting for? At Captain Chucky's, they're always trying to keep things new and fresh. If you haven't tried the new banging crab ravioli or lobster ravioli with their amazing blush sauce, now's the time. Also, try Captain Chucky's brand new product, Philly's famous Clams Casino, a mouth-watering addition to your table. And your local Captain Chucky's, just check out availability for that one. Several choices of breaded, non-breaded crab cakes, literally a crab cake for everybody. Dessert, soup, sides, appetizers. The personal favorite, the Dom roll, the golf shrimp, huge hit, always wild caught, never farm raised. Visit one of Captain Chucky's 18 and soon to be 20 locations. Terry and Al Moser in Colmar, John and Cindy Clark in Huntington Valley, Tony and Jamie Parson in Cinnaminson in Runnymede, New Jersey, the Vogelsang family in Flowertown, see the Smaraglia family. In Ocean City, it's Chris and Donna Ryan Seattle, the McCann family, Avalon, the Vasilati family. Shore locations are open daily from 11 a.m. Congrats to Sam Cancelleri, Irish Mike McGarry. They prepare to open their new Captain Chucky store in Medford, New Jersey, and coming soon to Northeast Philadelphia, Home Circle, the Graziani family store. Remember, we love crabcakes.com. If you're headed to the shore, check out Captain Chucky's at the shore.com. It is Dom time. Don't forget our side question today, debate day. Hit us with the debate that you'd like to hear, that all-time debate, and the two people debating. All right? It could be anything. It could be silly. It could be serious. Hit us with that. I just see this report, Dan, that the Philadelphia police, this seems to be confirmed, are going to fire police officer Mark Dial, who shot and killed the guy over in Kensington. Now, at 1 o'clock, Kenny and Outlaw are going to be on. And Outlaw, for my money, and a lot of cops I've spoken with, is part of the problem. She ran with a false report in the beginning. She doesn't care. She does whatever she wants, playing out the string. That exacerbated this. But Dan and I watched the tape of this, and it's pretty clear. I mean, I'm supportive of the firing of this cop. What I'm not supportive of, though, here's what the issue is the inability to take into account how difficult these situations are and the particulars of this one, just like all others. So for what I've seen so far, and it's multiple angles and all the rest, firing him would be justified. After due process, after he has a chance to make his case, if he doesn't quit, resign, whatever. But an all-out vendetta on cops, and this cop in particular, Larry Krasner, the mob in Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Inquirer, when they allow people to be put in situations that are just impossible, that's what I don't support. All right, so this is all breaking at 1 o'clock today. We'll have the news conference after our guests. We'll break down the news conference with Outlaw and Kenny bloviating on this. God knows what they'll say, where they'll go. Just once, wouldn't you like to hear a recognition? Can't say that in Philadelphia anymore, of these judgments and how difficult this is, particularly from the alleged police commissioner, who we've had a lot of bad public officials. She doesn't get enough discredit, Danielle Outlaw, though. She is she's the Kamala Harris of police work. Put in there because Kenny said, I'm going to put a black woman in as police commissioner. That's it. It's amazing. So I can't justify what I've seen. You're probably busy, gearing up the debate, presidential politics. People have busy lives. Dan, do you concur with that from what you've seen?
Yeah.
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 So I'm not going to defend the indefensible, and I'm not going to bypass it just because it's a cop that made the wrong decision here I'll put it that way, in context, or didn't make the policy decision or what they're supposed to do. But I don't see the punishment.
And there's a part of me that does take issue with putting the guy on a paid leave during the trial while everything gets figured out, though.
Well, that's, you're still innocent
Yeah.
until proven guilty. I mean, this has to be.
Yeah, but if you're not working because of something
Right.
you did, there's a part of me that thinks maybe it should be like an unpaid suspension.
I don't think so. No. I mean, he's going to be fired.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying is I don't know if he should be outright fired before the trial, but I'm also not okay with him staying, being paid by the department while he sits on his butt doing nothing.
Okay, well, the firing part is if you egregiously don't follow the procedures. And in watching this, I think that's the case. He didn't follow the procedures in any way, shape, or form. He shot the guy within 5 seconds. So the firing, I could see. I mean, it's due process. He gets to argue.
I'm racking my brain here for any justification as to why the guy would hop out of his car and start firing like that, and I really can't.
Well, the other officer yelled weapon, though, or at least that's what the argument is. Yeah. So, but as far as this idea of going after him and making him a target here, that's completely out of bounds. Okay. I mentioned Mark Houck, and we had one of the first interviews with Mark that went all over the place, running against Brian Fitzpatrick. People were excited to hear somebody they like, a candidate they like. I'll try to summarize it that way. Given his story, the abuse by the federal government, by the Department of Justice, by the FBI, and even the state police were there on a Sunday morning over nothing, coming to his house heavily armed with 7 kids and his wife there. But most people said, after hearing the interview and their thought process, no way on the abortion issue, principally, that he should be able to be the nominee because you really have increased the odds astronomically that the Democrat will win there. So Politico goes back to this again, and they have a big piece today about Houck. And in it, a couple of things they talk about, and here's the kind of talk that I don't like. The National Republican Congressional Committee has already indicated it's going to go all out to help Fitzpatrick, well liked by Republican leadership. And they start to get into what that means, how they're going to go after this guy. Now, I just gave you the thing to say about Mark Houck and essentially leave it at that. Now, I don't know that Brian Fitzpatrick is on with this. They're going to go after him on two grounds. That Houck was once, according to this, and I think I've heard this, he struggled or was addicted, whichever phrase you want, to pornography. His father died when he was 11. It was a difficult time. I don't see that as something, wow. I see it as he overcame this. I see it as a positive on his record. Politico, oh man, they're going to get him with that. The other thing Politico says they're planning to go after him on is that he was recently acquitted of criminal charges after an altercation at an abortion clinic. That's another badge of honor, is it not? What he suffered, what he went through there, the whole deal? Of course it is. So my point is this, making the point that you like Mark Houck, but given what he said on my show and what his position is, he reiterated it. I mean, he's a man of principle. He's against abortion. Now, the last time he was on Friday, we were at Mulligan, so it was a little harder, but he said, yeah, but I won't have too much to do with abortion in his role as a congressman. And I said, with all due respect, that's not going to fly. That's just not going to work. That's not the way it works. Okay. You will lose. You can't win in Bucks County with that position on abortion. I mean, I don't need polling. I just know common sense on this. Isn't that enough to make that case? Do you have to go down the path of trying to go after him on these other things? I don't think Brian Fitzpatrick's condoning that, but if this is what's in the air from Republicans, as told here with Politico, I'm not on board with any of that. Now, I know you have to beat the guy in the primary, but I think some deference should be given here to what this guy has stood for, the good he has done, the good man that I believe him to be. And it's just that in this environment, his position on abortion disqualifies him from serious consideration. You just can't win. How would you summarize it? Is that your view on this? Because this is going to continue here. Somehow or another, Politico can't get enough of Mark Houck. Amazing. It's stunning to me.
It's a juicy story.
Yeah, well, yes, but how in the world is this something to use against him? We mean to say people out there in Bucks County are going to, whoa, this guy was into porn. Don't vote. A, and B, he overcame it.
It's very disingenuous, if so.
Yes. Yeah, let's check the porn sites out there in Bucks County.
Let's go to the internet browser histories
Yeah,
of everyone saying that.
Yeah, let's check Doylestown. Let's see what's going on over there. Yeah, I don't think so. All right, so that's where we are.
I'm interested to hear how this interview might go if you were to interview Mark about this.
Oh, I think he'd be direct and forward. I would have to be cautious.
Hold your tongue on some things.
They're really going to use that to run ads in the primary? This guy was addicted to porn. You know, won him. Look, I think this. Somebody who had an issue and legitimately overcame it, did not do anything wrong. He's admitted, he said, well, I was sinful during that. Wow. I want a guy who thinks, well, you know, he's not just cavalierly saying, oh, it was a little bit of porn. Who cares? He's repentant for it. That's a huge plus.
I see the point of the Politico editor. So.
Yeah, what's that?
Well, you have a evangelical guy here, is he even a Christian guy here who's very religious,
right?
And he promotes religious values, particularly when talking about issues involving women. And then he's here also addicted to porn. It kind of, you know, it's a little egg on the face for the liberals there.
Oh, okay. Well, I would look at it this way: if it were found out and he didn't own up to it, he publicly has owned up to this and talked about it. So that's a plus. And as far as the other, you go after him because he was arrested by the feds, by the FBI and all that. I wanna vote for him. I wanna move to
right?
Bucks County and vote for him on
That's a
that.
positive.
Yeah, it's a huge positive. All right, 855-839-1210, AT&T and Verizon Wireless. All I need do is just push pound 1210 at the end of your call. Remember, hit us with, that, debate you'd like to see, and who are the 2 parties? What are they debating? At 1:00, when Dan is monitoring, we'll dip in and out. We'll give you some of, Kenny on this. It's just both entertaining and enraging at the same time. But guess what? Danielle Outlaw does not get attacked enough in Philadelphia. She just doesn't. Dan, remember when Alan Dom is sitting, and I love Alan Dom as far as what he would be as mayor, but I was like, come on, Alan. When he said, well, she's just following what Kenny says to do, he would give her a shot. No way. No, she's the
Yeah.
most inappropriate person probably you've seen in a position of authority like that. A disgrace of disgraces.
Couple great answers coming in on Twitter for the
Yes.
side question, Dom.
Yes.
D. Nemeth writes, and I would like to see the founders of Wawa and Sheets debate which franchise is better. Pennsylvanians would implode.
That would be tremendous. Or a representative. Who'd be a good rep for Wawa and who would be for Sheets? Yeah.
I don't get this one, but I'm assuming you will. Greg Norman versus Jay Monahan on the future of professional touring golf.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be Greg Norman or Monahan. Tag me in, please, with Greg Norman. There's going to be, right away, the gloves go down. He's the guy who got the Saudi money, Dan. He's disgusting, Greg Norman. And a choker, an all-time choker in golf.
One more for you. Ty Cobb versus Babe Ruth on hitting for average versus slugging home runs.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I like that
All
one.
right, Ty Cobb versus Pete Rose of who was more intense in baseball.
There you go.
You know what I liked about Rose? We did that the other day. He was intense, but he was fun too. When he caught that pop-up off Bob Boone's glove by running down the line to the catcher bobbled it, went in the air, and he got it in the World Series. Name another guy that would have been there doing that. I mean, he's just one of a kind.
Bryce Harper?
Bryce Harper? Maybe. Yeah. Pete Rose would run him over at first base, though. So that's 855-839-1210. Thomas, the author of it, you're right, though. Yeah, it could be Outlaw or Thomas and Pat Malloy. Yeah, I'd pay for that one. That'd be a pay-per-view. That's a good one. All right, write that one down.
Guys.
Thank you. That is a good start. Good start. All right, 855-839-1210. Should Ron DeSantis tonight bring up, he's being coached to say, well, I'll bring up your criticism of Trump and the wall. Whatever the progressives are saying, whatever those voices are telling you, Ron DeSantis, tonight is not the time to be attacking Trump. I'm not saying never on this, and I get the argument on the wall. Tonight, DeSantis has to show people who were expecting this unbelievable guy from Florida that he is indeed that guy, and he's just gotten derailed a bit here. That's what he's got to show tonight, not worrying about attacking Trump on things like the wall. Well, if he wants to be president, doesn't he have to attack him? Yeah, this is the first round to try to show that you even belong in the ring. I would bet slightly that DeSantis is going to do decently tonight, but not much more. All right. Are we seeing masks come back in vogue? We're seeing elements of it already. What's going to be the tripwire that starts us down this path? And what are people going to do if petty little tyrants go back to masking? All right, I'll explain what's happening. Hey, do you feel like you're always looking for another energy boost? Then try Rescue Orosine from Rescue Natural Supplements. As we age, our bodies don't tend to produce enough natural fuel to get rid of that stubborn feeling of fatigue. Well, Rescue Orosine provides just that. Orosine helps by boosting energy production at the cellular level while also supporting a healthy heart and blood pressure. Right now, our exclusive radio listeners offer you can buy one bottle of Orosine, get another free. Just use the code FUEL when placing your order. Call them today at 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Speak to a knowledgeable product consultant or use the code online when you visit res-q.com. That's res-q.com. Make sure to mention the code FUEL, F-U-E-L, when you call, or use the code at the online checkout. Again, use the code FUEL when buying a single bottle of Orosine. Get that second bottle absolutely free. It is Dom time, 855-839-1210. That was a good start. Good debate. Pat Malloy, Isaiah Thomas might be better than Danielle Outlaw on driving equity. And it could be many venues around town. Isaiah Thomas would never do it, though. He's not that type of guy. He just hides over there in city council. All right, Wall Street Journal's got a piece today, and it says that out of the nation's 20 biggest downtowns, guess which one is in last place with people returning to the office? You guessed it. More than 317,000 people moved out of Philadelphia urban core between March 2020 and June 2023, according to Moody's. That's pretty recent. Over 317,000. Reasons? Fear of crime. But in some of these big cities, it's that too. Guess what else? Well, they're able to work from home. Philadelphia's wage tax is 3.75 for employed residents like Dan and I, and 3.44 for non-resident workers in the city. Residents who found remote jobs and suburbanites who don't come into the city to work don't have to pay. There you go. So you avoid 3.44% plus all the hassles they put you through. Now, I don't know what they do if you come in and work one day. I don't know the grabbers here in Philadelphia, what they've come up with for that day. And I'm a little unclear. If you have to come into the office one day, but you work the other 4 at home, is it a 4-1-3-2 thing they come up with? Or I know they were still trying to charge people now if the business is in Philadelphia and you're working remotely. Somehow or another, they're saying, well, you're still in Philadelphia. They're just hostile. They're hostile to, and thank God, this may be one of the silver linings of COVID. One of the downsides of COVID, and we talked yesterday about this place, sadly, where a number of young kids were working, the Creamery over in Roxborough, where people came in with masks and took $350 in quarters, if you can imagine, at gunpoint. Closed down yesterday, reopened today. A lot of people going over there to support them, kind of a cash mob. And I saw on Twitter, it says now they're open again, but no mask. You can't have a mask to come in. Now, is the city going to bother them on that, enforcing a no mask after what they've been through if we go back to some kind of regular? Oh, yeah, they'll be all over that. Versus every one of these politicians who reads that story at gunpoint. And apparently some of these kids had summer jobs. It's a neighborhood institution. Why not go and buy some ice cream today? Why not go and support them and say, we're against this crime wave. We're going to make sure they're caught, and all this masking stuff is unnecessary. Why not be supportive in that manner? And we did that with Anna's Deli over in Tacony, you may remember. Some of you listening may have shown up. They were robbed. The husband was in the house, which was attached to the little store, the hoagie store, and shot the guy dead, who had already fired a shot to scare the wife. Hundreds showed up to buy hoagies on a Saturday. They couldn't keep up with it. But no public official showed up and said, we support you and your husband, nice shot. Well, I know they can't say that, but that's what I said. I mean, the bullet hole was right there in this little glass above the cash register. It was still there when we came in. All right, 855-839-1210. Lori in Ringo's on Talk Radio 1210. Hey, Lori.
Hey, Tom. I agree with you that inflation should be a big part of the message tonight and can be the centerpiece in a way. I was in Walmart last night. I usually don't grocery shop there, but while I was in there, as we walked through the food section, I saw just a basic bag of Gala apples, 3-pound bag, $9.50 something.
Wow. You know what I noticed, and I used to eat them, Lori? Did you ever? I like pistachios. I'm not buying them now. I don't know if they're up to like the standard size bag. It's close to $10. In what universe?
Yeah, the price of nuts is nuts. And, I also was cleaning out the center console of the car, and I just pulled the receipt out because I saw it the other day. The week before the presidential election, Costco gas, $2.06 a gallon. Now you go to Costco, it's $3.49, $3.50. Okay,
yep.
So that's the reality. Don't tell me that things were going up, but now they're subsiding. That's $1.50 more on a basis of 206. That's, still approaching doubled for gas. And see, here's my point. Whoever wants to really take the nomination tonight, the message they should be delivering, if they really want a shot at it, is there are things that we all share in common as Americans. Inflation, we're all feeling that, okay? Because I said to my husband, people really are, we are going to have to cut back on what they're eating when you see prices like that. And so they need to say, I'm the person that understands that these are things we share in common and that we can be united as a people. And this is what we need to address, because we need to put Americans first. And they can bring a host of issues under that umbrella, like immigration. Okay, so you can say, you know what, we're paying so much to put immigrants up in hotels. And what are we doing for Hawaiians whose houses have been incinerated?
So beautifully put. And look, this could be a team message. You could talk about what your special expertise or touch is to get that done. But you're right. You're keeping inside a united message that the media can unscramble to help Biden in some way.
Absolutely. And to your point, you can be subtle. DeSantis, the way he can help is he knows how to work with, other policymakers and get things done. And he can get teams of people that are competent at that. I think Vivek is a potential great unifier with a really positive message. And I think thinking wise, he's like above and beyond. He's just a special mind, and everybody can bring something to the table there.
Yeah, that could be a sign. Now it's all in Brett Baer's hands. If he does the right thing, that's what he would lead with. Nothing else is as unifying, as riveting, and as important at this point as that.
Okay.
Lori, do you have a debate? Who would you have debate and what issue?
I'd like to see basically Blinken versus kind of anybody that's halfway competent. Let's say Mike Pompeo, based on his experience, discussing foreign policy with a real emphasis on debating on China and the two Taiwans, but also just whoever it was debating Blinken could take apart everything that the Biden administration has done, starting with Afghanistan and those 13 dead young service people.
Exactly. Well put. All right, 855-839. I'd like to debate Dr. Jill Biden on educational policy, et cetera. All right, AT&T and Verizon Wireless, big 1 o'clock hour. Get in, and we have a little bit later, we'll give you an update on the Outlaw Kenny festival here around this COP. Dom and Dan, Talk Radio 1210. All right, Tom Giordano Show, the taco wars and inflation also. But that was a great call from Lori of Ringo's. By the way, I might hold up this as symbolic of progressivism, Dan, before we go to our guest, Gregory Gregg, who is
Gregory.
Oh, it's Gregory. I I can't be informal here with Greg. Gregory,
That's
who owns
Gregory.
a great restaurant in the Summers Point area in the news because the vast Taco Bell powers are coming after him. But the Chicago mayor, Brandon Johnson, an unfortunate name, another Brandon, told kids in Chicago the first day of school they would have a pizza party. Get the kids in Chicago, it's bad and all right. Come to school, do well in the morning, and then you have a pizza party. And guess what, Dan? They did give them a pizza, the kids. They handed out thousands of frozen pizzas. So
wait, they were frozen when they gave them to the kids?
Yes. What are the kids supposed to do with a frozen pizza all day long? They still had the afternoon session. Yes.
I know an easy solution for this, Tom.
Yeah.
And I'd hate to go in this direction, but why not give them pizza Lunchables?
Oh, there you go.
If you're going to go the direction of a frozen pizza, it's around the same price,
Can you see what happened there? First of all, frozen pizza is the most horrible thing.
Look around, the kids are sitting on their pizzas trying to warm them up.
Yeah, but this guy is the mayor already, and all kind of they don't care. So he gives thousands of kids frozen pizzas.
That's great.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're talking tacos here with Gregory. Washington Post says he's a man of many titles: grandfather, Jersey Shore restaurateur, and raconteur. A man with the same first and last name. He caught a 985-pound alligator.
What?
With a beef lung as baste. Oh, my goodness.
Helped
reel in a 600-pound marlin and killed a bear with just a longbow and wooden arrow from less than 30 feet away. Well, that last one's not so good. He could have always outrun the bear. I always say that, right?
And just for some perspective, living down the shore when I was living down there, man, the name Gregory's is absolutely legendary all up and down the shore. And people will travel from Philadelphia. I'm sure a lot of people had Gregory's seafood at some point. It's just a fantastic, fantastic place.
He says a South Jersey taco is a Gregory's taco. It's a culinary delight, but it's one of a kind. And this debate is over Taco Tuesdays and everything related to it, and Taco Bell using a sledgehammer on entrepreneurs like that. Let's go to one Gregory on Talk Radio 1210. Hey, Gregory, welcome in. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for calling me. I appreciate it.
So how long have you had Taco Tuesdays? Is that really what the debate is, or is it the naming of this culinary delight?
Are you the inventor of Taco
Are you
Tuesday?
the inventor of it?
Well, as a matter of fact, I actually got the idea for Taco Tuesday when I was in Philadelphia running a place called the Newsstand underneath the clothespin. And then I went to the gallery when we opened a store in the gallery for Stan and Mark. And I went down to the food court and I saw a sign, TACO, TACO. So I waited and I looked and there was a line every day a line. And I'm thinking, I got to try one of these. I walk up, I said to the lady, I'll have a TACO. She says, it's taco. Get it
right. That's right.
So I didn't know it. I'm like when I rode crew for the bear at Temple, he called me the clam digger. So you know what I mean, because I'm from the shore.
Yeah.
So I get one, I order one, I get it, I take it back to my seat, and I'm all excited. I take one bite, and that was the last bite of a taco I've had in my whole life. I have not eaten my own tacos. Everybody else eats them. But I'm not in the business of selling food I like to eat. I'm in the business of selling food people like to eat.
Well put. So you've been doing this forever. I see here at least back to 1979 you started doing this?
That's right. I left the newsstand in 78 and took over the family business in 79. And nobody wanted me to put it on the menu because nobody knew what they were. They don't put them on the menu. I said, well, listen, it's a big thing in Philly. I said, it's got to be coming this way. We didn't have any Mexican restaurants or anything down here yet. 78, the Resorts was the only thing that was open.
Well, wait a minute, though. 1978 and still no Mexican restaurants in Summers Point. I know I know Ocean City's a dry town, but this is it's hard to believe.
Well, we have plenty of margaritas. We just didn't have any Mexican stuff. we go and I say, let's do it one night a week. So here's a name you might remember. Tony Martz had Wednesday night drink and drown night. And that was on Wednesday, and it was the big night to go out to the city. So I said, well, let's do it on Tuesday. It'll cut their legs off. We'll get the people before they go out and get liquored up, and we'll get some money spent here. And I said, we'll call it Taco Tuesday. Yeah, we'll call it Taco Tuesday. I said, that rolls off. Taco Tuesday, Gregory. I like it. So with the first night, we sold 5 orders. And one of my buddies that owns Almo Pools down here ate 2 of them. So the next week, we sold 7 orders. The third week, we sold out. The fourth week, I drove to Philadelphia to get taco shells because I was frying corn tortillas down here by hand. And I had to go to Philly to get taco shells. I get a case of 200 taco shells. That Tuesday night, we sold out.
Wow, that is
and
amazing.
By the end of the first month, we had a line on Tuesday nights to get in and get out just for these tacos. We were selling them 3 for $1. And it's 1979.
So, Gregory, is that how you got on the radar screen of Taco Bell, do you think? It's so prominent. You did so well. You're such a character. I mean, what is it that made them now start to try to crack down on you?
Well, here's the situation. In 1982, I was awarded the trademark for Taco Tuesday for the United States.
Okay.
Dr. Jack Stellman, my public speaking professor from ACC, forced me into it, told me to do it, and then showed up with paperwork and said, give me a check and sign here. You're applying for a patent. So I do it. I get it. Everything's great. 89, we get into a dispute with Taco John's. We're a little late showing that we had advertised. So we settled out of court with them getting 49 states, us getting New Jersey. So that's been moving along for the last 44 years or so. I've been doing tacos. So now all of a sudden, LeBron James wants to get it a couple of years ago. You remember him saying, I want to trademark Taco Tuesday. Well, he found out that I own a trademark, and so does Taco John's. And that didn't work out. Well, then all of a sudden, Taco Bell decides they're going to liberate Taco Tuesday. They get LeBron James to run a big commercial, taco beep through the playoffs. So I'm watching this, and next thing you know, I get served in the mail from the U.S. Patent Court.
Right.
And they're trying to dissolve my trademark because Taco Bell says it's all over the place. Everybody's using it. They shouldn't have the trademark. Well, we're about 8 days into this whole situation, and Taco John's folds their tent, gives up their trademark. You think CEOs talk? I don't know.
Yeah.
So then I end up getting a phone call from a marketing guy, and I tell him, I'm not going to talk to you. I don't need to talk to this. I'm in the middle of this. Don't bug me. Well, so my partner Waller says, here's his email. I get an email from a guy by the name of Mark King. Let's see, Mark King. Let's Google him. CEO of Taco Bell.
Oh, my God, the big guy. So have you had a conversation with him on that?
Couple of them.
Okay.
Couple of them. We talked the first call. We talked, and he said, I don't want to make this the big guy picking on the little guy thing.
Right.
We want a have smooth transition here, and we're probably thinking of something, that's both beneficial to both of us, and we can make this all work out and everything else like that. And he's really, really suave and sophisticated and real rich and happy. And I said, well, it was very nice talking to you, Mark. He said, yeah, it was nice talking to you. I said, well, I'll see you later, Goliath.
Where did you get the name Gregory? How did that come about, Gregory?
Well, he said to me, goodbye, David, and we hung up. I got the name Gregory because my father, a Kensington guy, they had a bar in Kensington that during Prohibition, they were a luncheonette, and then after Prohibition, they came up to my grandfather and said, hey, Walt, would you like to buy a liquor license? He said, why would I buy a liquor license? He said, you served liquor all through Prohibition. We thought you wanted to stay in business. So we had a bar in Kensington at Emerald and Cumberland. And my father went into the Marine Corps at 17. His first name was Ilma. Well, he was the handsome devil of the family. And he's in the Marine Corps, comes out of Guadalcanal and Iwo Jima and all that Marine Corps stuff, Marine paratrooper, handsome, 6-footer, and had his uniform, and they were allowed to walk on movie sets. So he was a walk-on at different movie sets, and a producer came up to him and said, "What's your name?" And it's written across his chest. He said, "Gregory." And the guy said, "I like that, Gregory, Gregory." And my father said, "I like that too." And so that's me. That's how I got my name.
All right, great story. Gregory's Restaurant and Bar in Summers Point. So with Taco Bell, can you give us an idea, or is that legal right now to dissolve your patent on this? How much was the offer?
The very first offer was, you're going to put a picture of us in the ad. You know, we'll be in the national ad, and we'll give away free tacos on the 12th of September. And all we have to do is surrender our trademark.
All right, so I'm trying to work that out. That doesn't seem like much
What,
of an offer.
a one-time ad
A
for
one-time ad,
you're
yeah,
surrendering the
yeah,
trademark?
yeah,
Okay.
Well,
that's yeah.
We thought about it because we thought maybe somebody in Tacoma, Washington, would want to drive over and get the tacos.
Yeah, Summers Point, isn't that near Ocean City? Yeah, let's make it a trip. Marge, get in the car.
Yeah, well, their tacos are 2 for $3.50. Let's go. It's a deal.
Yeah.
What is he, crazy? And I did say to him, that's an insult.
So
I said, "That's an
where
insult."
are you now in this? Is it in litigation, or are you still negotiating with them?
Well, the litigation is talking about an end sometime in 24.
Okay.
And what's happening here is that it's, I hate to say that America, and especially New Jersey, hates bullies, and they hate then they love the
Oh,
underdog.
yeah, sure.
And everybody's surrounding me. I'm getting the Washington Post article. I must have had 15 pages of people saying how great it was, and then there was one guy that said your tacos suck, and they had about 800 people attack him. And when we looked him up, it was a nobody. He didn't have anything about. He wasn't from anywhere. It was a troll.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So we're figuring, this is what's going on. And just 2 days ago, I was on Canadian broadcast system for a radio station in Ontario. I'm going to get a lot of them down here too.
Oh,
but,
well, I could no. Where is it located? Gregory's Restaurant and Bar. Where in Summers Point?
We're on Shore Road, and that's part of the as we call it, the beer Bermuda Triangle. It's Charlie's on one corner, I'm on the next corner.
All right.
The Anchorage is down the street.
Now, Gregory, let's talk a little bit. We've had a lot of interest. We got somebody coming on tomorrow. There was this article in the Inquirer saying that, and your prices look to be relatively low as far as I can tell, but give us a sense. You're a shrewd guy, business guy, promoter. Have you had to raise prices? What is it that's inflating your prices, if at all?
Well, in addition to Governor Murphy raising the minimum wage for up to 14 or 15, and your cousin Joe Biden giving everybody that free money, you can't get anybody to work. You have to pay $16, $17, $18 an hour to get a dishwasher.
So
$18 an hour to get a dishwasher.
If you have to do that with someone just starting 18, so the people you've had that have worked with you that are loyal, they got to go up too then, right?
Oh, they all got twos before their hourly rate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. The food has been ridiculous. The beer went up. Bud Light's they're giving me a deal on Bud Light lately. Can you imagine that? And
yeah.
All the other stuff, all the prices have just gone wacky. You know what I mean? When you couldn't get eggs, come on. You know what I mean? And everything seems to be hyperinflated. Some of it has settled back down, but a lot of it hasn't. And there is sticker shock. You look down. I was out to dinner last night at a friendly competitor, and a chicken franchise was $32. A chicken franchise used to be $12.
Wow.
Not too long ago. I'll bet before COVID, you strained to break the $20 mark on a dinner plate. I'm not talking about lobster and seafood.
Yeah,
and stuff,
exactly.
But I'm talking about a chicken dish.
Wow.
Chicken used to be reasonable.
So let's ask, other than coming and patronizing, which we plan to do, we're not going to be down the shore for a little bit. I definitely have to meet you. Dan and our mutual friend Keith Hartzell speak so glowingly of you and your place. What can people do? Come out and support you right now in this? Do we see how this shakes out?
Yeah, I guess you could come stop in. We're doing a Taco Tuesday light for the last 2 Tuesdays in August. And yesterday we did Taco Tuesday to benefit the Angels Network, the hospice people. And we gave them a portion of the sales. And you know what I mean? They did really well. We had a lot of people come in and support it, so they got a big check. So I'm turning this into lemonade. On August or September 5th is the first full-blown actual Taco Tuesday, and Dan knows what they're like. And it's a happening from 3 p.m. to midnight. You come in, you eat tacos. There's all kinds of Mexican specialties now on the menu, and they're all fairly inexpensive. And then Taco Thursday is basically aimed at the families. I mean, people bring their kids in. People that met at the bar, got engaged at the bar, got married at the bar, don't come back until they get kids. Then they bring them into Taco Thursday.
So wait a minute. It's Taco Tuesdays and Thursdays. There's no stopping this. We need some more teas here, right?
Well, you know what? When we first started, it was working so well that we had Wonton Wednesday. How's that?
So before you go, Dan, you wanted to know about what?
Yeah, you read something in the introduction of Gregory. I never known that he calls like a 600-pound alligator or something. I wanted him to tell
with
us
a beef lung.
Yeah,
yes.
What's about that?
That was a very exciting trip. That bear that I had shot in the woods, a guy by the name of Greg Stafford was a Florida Fish and Wildlife trapper for the alligator problem in Ocala, Florida. And he helped me drag my bear out of the woods. So he said to me, listen, you're a good guy. Why don't you come down and hunt some alligators with me? I take care of the nuisance alligators, and I trap some for food, and come down for a 3-day alligator hunt. So I went down there. I took a course, became an alligator trapper, bought my alligator trapper license. We went out and we captured 16 alligators in 3 days. One of them was 985. That was the 13.5 footer I caught.
Wow.
I had the head and the front or the back foot of that, and I got a skin of an alligator that we went waist deep in the dark because it had bit a kid earlier in the day in Lake George over there by Ocala. And we were in there. I had a pit bull be good snare, those fiberglass poles, and he had a harpoon. And we walked in the water waist deep as the sun was going down with those lights on the top. And let me tell you, I was watertight. I was clamped up. And we're walking down. And when the light gets on him, you see the eyes red as the devil himself staring at us. And he's about 30 yards away, and he went down. I go, oh, my God. He said, real slow now. We crept up on it, and there it was laying there on the bottom. And alligators are funny. Once they make a bite or a kill or an area where they're at, they don't leave till a bigger alligator chases them out. So he thinks he's the top of the food chain. So we get up to him. He hits him. He says to me, I'm going to hit him right behind the shoulder with the harpoon. He's going to bite at it, then bite at the other side, and then bite at that again. When he comes back, get the snare on him. He goes, bang, slap, slap. I got him right between my legs. He runs. And I get him.
Oh my God.
It's about a 7.5, 8 foot alligator. I hold him up against the bank. Good thing I was a Temple Crew guy with Gavin White, because it took all I had to pin him against the bank. They taped him up. We threw him into the boat through the cutout on the side of the gunnel, and he pulled me in with him, and I rolled and ended up having to get my hip replaced from hitting this pit bull be good stick so bad, but there was blood everywhere. I said, he's bleeding. And Greg said, that's not him. And we looked down, and when he went through my legs, he had raked the top of my foot with 3 claw marks. Pretty exciting stuff.
Unbelievable. Hey, Gregory, you're every bit, as Dan said, through friends. So the next big thing for you, September 5th, 3 until midnight, Gregory's Restaurant and Bar there in the Bermuda Triangle.
And also on the 12th, when Taco Bell is giving a free taco to everybody in America, except for the people in New Jersey, because I won't give up my trademark, we're going to give away a free taco to everybody who comes in. Their first basket, they get 3 instead of 2.
Gotcha.
So if you want a free taco, come to Gregory's, 900 Shore Road, Summers Point. Been there 77 years. We're going into our 78th.
All right, Gregory, thank you. To be continued. Thanks for coming on today.
Okay. See you later. Thank you.
What a guy. All right, Dan. So if we're I'm back from there. You know what? We might be down the shore on that day. What is the 5th? Is that Labor Day or is that the Sunday?
The 5th is
the Sunday.
No, it's Tuesday after Labor Day.
Oh, it's a Tuesday after Labor Day.
Taco Tuesday.
But yeah, no, that's right. Yeah. We're going to go down on Sunday, I think. All right. But I encourage people, Gregory's Restaurant and Bar in Summers Point.
So, as we're talking with Gregory, we have the press conference of Mayor Kenny, Danielle Outlaw.
We have that coming up?
After the break, I have Kenny, after everything wrapped up with Outlaw, he tried walking away, but the reporters wanted to ask him some questions, so we'll play back some of the questioning of reporters on Mayor Kenny.
All right, we got that. This is from the shooting over in Kensington. I believe the cop has been fired, but there's going to be a lot more on this. Great guest. And look, I understand the Taco Bell wanting to have the name and all that goes into it, but my God, one state, is it worth it going down this path? How does this end? And Dan, you heard what he said. I wrote it down. $18 an hour for a dishwasher. In a place like Jersey, particularly, is there any reason why inflation then would be out of control? Is it greed? Did he sound like a greedy guy, or does it sound like it's ridiculous to run a business? 855-839-1210. Dom Giordano's show. So the watchword today is, let's pray that Fox leads with inflation tonight. Talks about that. Come on. Brett Baer's a pretty good news person in general. That's the issue. Let these people, they gave you, it's supposed to be a home court advantage. Now, home court advantage doesn't mean you lie down like your little sisters of the poor, but it means you give the advantage to the Republicans. They're giving you the debate and 30 million people tonight. And it would not come across like you're in the tank for them to start with inflation. And I mean, do 15 to 20 minutes on inflation back and forth. The initial thing to go around is what would you do about it versus Biden? Try to educate the American public. Brett Baer and Martha McCollum can make some opening statements about inflation that are news-based. You just heard Gregory. Square shooter. The guy, it's got to have a thriving business there. $18 an hour a dishwasher, as an example. So is it greed of business owners driving this up? Or is it progressives, Bidenomics, the screw up through COVID that they put? I think that's in the main. I'm not saying all of it. We have another great guest tomorrow. I don't want to say yet. It's a interesting person we're bringing on tomorrow around this issue of inflation and a business at 12:30. All right, so that's what I hope they lead with tonight. Now, Dan has been also monitoring Kenny. There was some drama here with Kenny and reporters, but mainly Danielle Outlaw. We now have what she's accusing the cop of, dismissing 30-day suspension, and then you're dismissed and fired. And that's pretty standard. It's more on the investigation part. That's where she's going. Just one thing, and I'm not going to play it now, maybe later. Channel 6 had a great report on the owner of the Philadelphia Cycle Center, Vince Sanginiti. The owner said he's been overrun by thieves. There have been 5 burglaries of his cycle shop. Some of them are dirt bikes and the like in just 10 days. They just steal a car, he says, ram the giant garage door. To have a garage door to open up so people can test the bikes. Just knock down the garage door, then come in and start to take what they want. How can you sustain 5 burglaries of that sort in 10 days? Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, why doesn't he just camp out armed and do it? Because he's in Philadelphia and he knows exactly what would happen if he camped out in the store and shot a few of these burglars. He doesn't want to go through that, I bet. But imagine that. Just imagine the routine nature of this. And yet this silly police commissioner and Kenny, and of course Krasner, will make this public enemy number one. So Dan, give us a little background here. You got some Kenny take as he's leaving,
well,
right?
You want the announcement of Outlaw first? It's only about 40 seconds.
Okay, yeah, Outlaw, yeah.
Have made the decision to utilize Commissioner's direct action to suspend police officer Mark Dial with the intent to dismiss him at the end of 30 days due to administrative violations. More specifically, I chose to exercise direct action due to Officer Dial's violations of PPD Disciplinary Code Article 4, Insubordination, Section 4-002, refusal to promptly obey proper orders from a superior officer, and Article 1, Conduct Unbecoming, Section 1-008, failure to cooperate in any departmental investigation. I want to make it clear that the investigation into the shooting itself continues.
All right, so here's the take on it. She's the one that ran with this originally and put out a false report on it, then has to come back and clean it up. And yes, he does have to comply and give a statement around this. Look, he's in Larry Krasner's Philadelphia. This police commissioner doesn't have the backs of any of the people that work in the police department. She's a non-entity. He's in a hostile mob-like city. He shot a guy within 5 seconds of getting out of his vehicle, and people are going to see that. We heard a caller say, and Dan and I watched this, he did retreat after some of the shots, indicating he thought he had a weapon, okay? It's not a looking at it from all angles. I could argue that he didn't follow a procedure here in dealing with this, but the idea this would be criminal, or what they're seeming to allege with this, to get this guy, that's way overboard. All right, Dan, we also have Kenny, right?
Yeah, so I'm pulling up youtube.com/@1210WPHT. We are still dining with Dom.
Right.
I forgot to turn it off today. I'm going to pull up the video because Mayor Kenny didn't really say much at all during the press conference. And then he tried to, with clear annoyance on his face afterwards, tries to walk away. But obviously the press has some questions for the mayor. So this is the press questioning. It's only about 2 minutes long, but Mayor increasingly becomes more and more frustrated. And I think it's kind of funny to hear. So take a listen.
Penny, any comment, reaction? In fact, yesterday during the news conference with Counsel for the Family, specifically, Shaka Johnson said the next mayor will need to pay close attention to training, certainly as it relates to this kind of general situation and dealing with people, the public who may be suffering from mental illness.
Well, this is certainly a tragedy, and my heart breaks for the family and for the loss of Mr. Irizarry. Again, this is an ongoing investigation, and I'm not going to have any comment on what I think or feel about what I've seen or know until this investigation is concluded. And we have made, through this commissioner and this command staff, tremendous training improvement in our police academy and ongoing training. This is a situation, obviously, is tragic, and the investigation will bring out whatever it's going to bring out, and we'll move on from there.
Mayor Giddey,
Relax.
During your last year in office,
Yes.
over these 8 years or 7.5 years, how would you characterize the relationship between the police department and the community?
I think it's better. I think we went through some really rocky times during the George Floyd murder and the civil unrest that followed, and then after Walter Wallace was killed. But I do think, in general, the community supports the police. The police are supportive of the community, and circumstances like this do set us back. But I think that we're able to recover and move forward, and the next mayor will continue to make progress.
Okay, Mayor, how do you react to that video that was released?
I can't. I just told you I can't react to it. It's an ongoing investigation, and no matter how many times you ask me or how many different ways you ask me, I can't comment on it because it's a ongoing investigation.
You're a
Thanks,
resident
Jeff.
of the city, and
Yeah,
you
and I'm
represent here.
yeah. See you, Jeff.
Eric,
All right, look, some of that I support. You can't comment on it, but here's the thing, Dan. I would just like to hear, rather than just the community and all the rest, how hard it is to be a cop in Philadelphia just once. Suck it up, Jim Kenney, your legacy here. 2 Street and all that. Just say what needs to be said. And this mental illness piece, he referenced Wallace, the guy out in West Philly. They had called like 8 times that day. You have these people who believe you ought to just send mental illness professionals out there with police rather than police. And they're in the middle of Kensington again, in the middle of that, on top of everything. So I'd just like to hear, the investigation will continue, but it is difficult being a cop in Philly. I'd like to hear the police commissioner, all right, this just walking, check all these categories person, say that for once in her tenure here. She won't. She's running out the clock to the next gig. Heaven forbid if either person appoints her a police commissioner anymore. They completely lose my respect in any way, shape, or form if they do. But Kenny's right to say he can't comment on the ongoing investigation part, I think. Dan, do you differ? You've seen this.
He's the mayor.
Yeah.
Like he's got to say something, and it just he's getting annoyed as reporters are asking him rightful questions as to if he wants to give the political legal answer of there's, and then keep saying that and give reporters your time, man. Don't try to walk away from the mic as quickly as possible.
Well, true.
With a frown on your face, yelling at reporters because you don't want to do your job.
Well, that part's true. As far as the investigation itself,
yes.
Now he could talk about, in general terms, about and when asked, he did talk about it's better now and all this stuff. It's just never. Who is it in Philadelphia that stands with the police? Who is it that tries to articulate what this is all about, how hostile this is? And the answer is this radio station and some people on Twitter, maybe. And I don't want to. I can't even say a reporter that we're very friendly with, because I don't want him to be under fire then that he's pro-police. What's wrong with being pro-police? You would think you would be pro-police. Democrat Party suddenly is pro-FBI. Several articles out there. And what's wrong with these conservatives? They're against law enforcement. No, you creeps. We're not against law enforcement. We're against the weaponization of the feds, of the FBI and all that. We stand with the cops. And I just said, watching this video, I don't think he should have reacted in this manner. And it probably violates the training, and the punishment could be to be fired as a cop. But beyond that, they're going to make this even more. They'll make this another referendum. These cops just going around shooting people. Why don't they deal with mental illness? Why don't you have a sense of what it's like to be put in those situations in Kensington? And then tell me about Dan. And by the way, if we're going to talk about mental illness, how about Kenny and everybody else allowing Kensington to be a hellhole? Think about it. Maybe if this guy had been stopped in another situation other than a hellhole like Kensington, maybe you're not as intense, as nervous, as under pressure. Well, you're a cop. You're supposed to be. Just think of what it's like, the police in Kensington, where the mayor and every one of these people say, have an open air drug market. We're going to push it all there. Think of how your reactions are versus if you're in a better situation. All right, phone lines are 855-839-1210. Dan, anything more you have?
No, that's all I got for now.
Okay. Yeah, I differ a little bit. I can see what you're saying about Kenny trying to shush these people and get out of there. Saying the line, he can't comment on exactly what we've seen on the videotape. That's pretty accurate. But then he can pivot, to your point, and talk about this in broader terms and take questions and say, look, I'll take the questions, but they have to be of that nature, not on the specifics of who did what in this shooting. That's maybe a legal matter and a police matter at this point. We'd love to get your reaction, 855-839-1210. The bigger picture is this. Who is it in Philadelphia that speaks to? Remember during COVID, all those commercials, the local TV stations, oh, the heroic doctors and nurses, true. And even the teachers. Did they ever include the cops? What's it like to be a cop during COVID? Or what's it like day to day in a place like Krasnerland? By the way, Krasnerland today will be at 3:15. So keep that in mind, 3:15 today. Phone lines 855-839-1210. You get in. Hey, snap into action this NFL season with fan